Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. I hope you're all having a good time. I'm having a good time. I've really been enjoying it here on Hermitcraft lately. In fact, last week we put out an extra episode on Thursday. That was like a bonus midweek episode. That was because there was no snapshot and I'd already recorded my episode. I felt like I wanted to continue playing here on Hermitcraft, so I thought, why not? We'll have an extra episode midweek, and some of you picked up on that. A lot of you seem to like the extra episode, which was good. And the last episode, I've just finished reading the comments on that, and I haven't done anything in between episodes. I've literally just come back here, dumped off all of my items into the chests, and now I'm standing around wondering what we're going to do this episode. But there is something really interesting that I wanted to point out. Last episode, or was it the one before that? I think it was the last episode. We had a look at the statistics. So I'm gone into the wrong menu. I always do that when I open up the menu screen. I just navigate to the wrong place. And we should have a look at two statistics here in blocks. Now, when I showed these, I didn't really sort of sit and look at them and think about what each of them mean. But some of you pointed out we've got 90,000 sandstone blocks here and 160,000 sand blocks, or tile sand name as it's now called. And I'm being attacked, aren't I? I could hear it. I could hear the potions. Down you go. How long's that poison going to last for? 6 seconds. That is really, really annoying. Thank you, Witch. So yeah, that's sandstone and sand. There was 90,000 sandstone, 160,000 sand. Where on earth could have all of that come from, eh? Of course it was from out here. That is the price of the wastelands. We've almost got all of the sandstone. There's still some down there, but about 160,000 sand has come from all of that, which is really fascinating stuff. Certainly has taken me a long time, but we've been playing on here for almost a year now, and I probably started this project a month or two into playing on Hermitcraft, you know, the second map. And I guess it shows, you know, a big long project, it's doable over time. But anyway, this episode, what I want to do is not drop down there. In fact, some of you may have been wondering, if you've been observant, there are none of this Ender Pearl elevator stuff, so if you were to fall from the top you'd actually take a lot of fall damage. And the plan is to put some slime blocks here when 1.8 comes out, because then when you fall all the way down, all you need to do is hold down spacebar and you'll sort of jump a little bit off it and you won't take any fall damage. So I'm waiting for that so you don't take damage to go down that side. But what I want to do is just come into this room and play around with it for a while. I don't really have a plan, or, you know, anything to build at the moment. I just want to work with this room, and you know what? This is all down in the slime chunks. And lighting, you know, light levels don't stop these slimes spawning, and I don't really need to hit them with my sword. That's wasting the durability. And yes, all of this area is pretty much slime chunks, and I've noticed a few of them inside the slime farm as well. I haven't seen any inside the actual farm. Now, I can't remember what blocks I'm supposed to break. I think it's these two. But I'm going to play it safe and go over here. That was a good idea. I would have destroyed some redstone. And look at this, more slimes. God damn it, go away. So let's have a look inside here and see if there's any slimes. There seems to be a lot of slimes spawning around here as well. And I don't see... Yep, there you go, we got one down here. It's going to be annoying. I mean, we could put down carpets on top of this. That would help prevent it, but it wouldn't stop them spawning. And I think maybe the smaller slimes would be able to spawn on the grass here in the middle as well. But I doubt they would still be there if we go up to the viewing balcony. I don't see any slimes in there. No. Anyway, what I was talking about doing, let's just repair this, is playing around in this area. I don't have any real plan. I want to change up the ceiling. I think the ceiling needs to be raised in places, and it needs something different from these pistons. They don't actually look that great, you know. The odd one is fine. I mentioned all of this before. I want to play around in here and see if we get something better going on. But just another reminder, I haven't done the lighting up of the caves in this entire area around the wastelands at all. So that is why I'm a little worried about these slimes, because if they're spawning so much, when we light up that place, you know, to build a mob trap or something like that, the slimes are going to be spawning a lot more in these areas, which makes me think we might have to use half slab floors or something like that. But I am not going to worry about that for now. I want to focus on looks. So as I said, I'm just going to play around with this for a bit. By the way, I don't like this. I really wish that could all be lapis, and I also tried packed ice on the side. And I felt like the packed ice was too pale. It kind of took away from the blue that we have leading into this area. So I still want to change this stuff. It doesn't look very good, does it? So I didn't expect to come to a solution so quickly, but I started to think about it and it seemed like the best thing to do would be to lay out some light sources in some sort of pattern down here on the bottom. Now I got a lot of comments suggesting to use carpets and to hide light sources under them. One of the popular colours suggested was purple, which I think stands out a little bit too much. The same for black and blue. You can see here I was just trying a few other colours. But the grey one, the darker grey, worked really well, probably because it was only a little bit brighter than this grey here. So I decided to move forward with that, and then I decided to lay out the torches in a pattern, but I didn't want it to be like a grid or something very noticeable, and it's kind of noticeable now. However, you have to look at it and think for a second. But what we have here is from the first torch we go forward by 4 and then over by 1, and we just repeat that pattern over and over again. And wherever you stand, you just go forward by 4 and then to the left by 1, and that's our pattern. So it's a little bit more discreet, or maybe it isn't, I don't know. But the alternative would be just to place them down randomly, and then that would mean checking absolutely everywhere to make sure it was all lit. And if you didn't do that, I guess you could kind of spam it a little bit and then you know that everything would be lit up, but I didn't think it would look too good. So we've got a mix of something random and a pattern as well, and you know what, I think it looks alright. And because of the way that I've laid it out, I know that everywhere around here is going to have the correct light level, so we can continue using this all the way to the back, and I think I'm actually going to keep that. Now you may have noticed that I've taken the lamps out of the ceiling as well. That means we can now go to the ceiling with a little more freedom. We don't have to put lighting up there, although I will, because it provides light to the ceiling and makes it bright and visible as well. But yeah, we have a little bit more flexibility with what we can do now, so it's going to be interesting to see what I can come up with. So this is starting to look a little better now. We're adding more depth and shape and variety as well to the ceiling. I really like this acacia bit here. It is a little bit dull because it's not very bright. However, we've got some very grey colours going on in here, haven't we? We've got our greys, we've got our whites, and then we've got this kind of purpley blue for the floor. And there isn't really too many other colours that you can throw in there. So I was thinking, what other greys do we have? And then I thought about the acacia wood, and that I think works pretty well. But I did try something else out here. I took a screenshot of it, and I don't think that really looked that great. I was trying to mirror the floor a little bit, then I decided to turn it into a pattern, so decided not to go with that. Then I've been working on the shape here. I've been adding in little details like this just to raise it up a touch, and then put in more quartz, have less lamps, have them spread out a bit. And I do like this. It's going to look good, I think, when more of this ceiling is done, because as you move around you get to see it, and then it kind of gets hidden behind the depth and all of that. But it doesn't quite line up with the other stuff here, so it does look a little bit odd. This first section goes up like this, and then you have it kind of looked like it was off, but you have an extra block down there, and then because there isn't the slope going up, you're going to have this little section, and then the next one, which is going to be slightly bigger. Have I done that right? Yeah, I have, haven't I? Okay. Yeah, this next section is going to be slightly bigger, so you have the extra quartz coming down on either side, which is going to look a little bit odd, and that'll probably make more sense when I can actually show you it. So what I want to do right now, by the way, I extended this back a little bit further as well, is just build the entire ceiling on both sides, coming all the way back to over here, and then we can have a look at it and see the finished product, because at the moment we're kind of looking at something that's half done. Now this is looking pretty good, and right now we're going to get a little bit of a preview of what the void fog in this corridor is going to look like. You can see it at the end there, and when we move down, that looks pretty cool, and now it's all going to disappear because of the sky lamp. But I like that. That is going to be a really cool effect when you're walking down this corridor. I imagine it is going to be at least twice as long for all the different farm types I want to put in here. But now that this is mirrored on both sides, I really like it. I think it looks cool. And I like how standing on the sides you don't get to see the bright quartz bit in the middle, and it kind of opens itself up as you go across, which is cool. But there is one thing that I want to try here. I'm just thinking that I want to lower this section here down by 1 block to see what it looks like when it's a little bit lower, because at the moment it's all the same height, and I think a little bit of variation there might work as well. But it means that the quartz slab is going to line up with the stone bricks there, which I think might look a little bit odd. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to give that a try, and depending, on what one I like, if I like it like this or lower, I think we're going to be pretty much done here. So it doesn't look that good, does it? At least I don't think it does. and I think the height of it is okay. It's just the transition here with the stone bricks. It doesn't look right, and I'm thinking maybe if we were to swap this out for some stairs and have them going across, and now we've got to jump up and down to place them. That's always the case with building something directly above you like a ceiling. You're forever building little scaffoldings and jumping up and down. But that looks pretty cool actually. I like that a lot. That works really well. Yeah, I think when you look at it from this angle, you've got the slope kind of coming down, and then this is at a different height from this bit. And that looks good. And then you've got this little divider going across when you look at it from afar. I like that actually. That works really well. That's what we're going to go with. Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. That looks cool. So there we go. I am happy with that. I don't think I'm going to be changing anything here now. Unless some of you have some awesome suggestions, then maybe there's a couple of things I would like to try. But I am happy with how that looks right now. And the only thing I'm not too keen on is this thing over here. Doesn't look right, either of them. I wish it could just all be lapis, but it can't because of this, unfortunately. So we've still got that to figure out, but let's move on to the next thing now. What I want to do is replace the portal I have up above with the one that I made a tutorial for on the weekend. If you didn't see that, be sure to check it out. It is a one-way portal. It was made by my friend Ease. He made that for me after I mentioned that I wanted something like that here on Hermitcraft. Now the problem is with portals and linking them together between the overworld and the nether is sometimes they don't link up the way you want them to. And we experienced that when we were moving the animals. If you remember, we used to have our other temple and we had the little pen for them out here. When I was moving them across down below, when I was ill that one episode, we had all kinds of trouble with the portals. I ended up in the gold farm. I had to disable that and kill a load of pigmen. That was crazy. And so what we want to use here is some portals that are never lit, only when we use them. And there'll be some of them down there in the future, but I have one right here, right now, that we could definitely do that for. Because this is basically a one-way portal to the nether as it is. Nothing in the nether synchronizes with this one. And then it means when I disable other portals for whatever reason, I have to come and disable this one here as well. So I want to turn this into a one-way portal. I'm basically going to follow my own tutorial and build it right here, although I might move it because it's kind of awkwardly placed. There is also a shop here, by the way. I don't think I ever mentioned this. I just put down some signs, but no one ever comes through this portal, and so that was a really strange place to put it. Don't know why I thought that would work. No one has come down here and brought stuff. There's just chests upon chests of materials, and the prices are cheap. It's like 12 sand for 1 diamond, something like that. But I don't think there's another place I'm actually going to be able to build this portal. I was looking at this space over here. It might be possible to squeeze it in. In fact, I think I just need to take some time to look around and figure out where I want to put it first of all. So I don't think there's going to be a permanent portal put around here. I was looking and it feels like wherever we put a portal it's just going to stick out like a sore thumb or something like that. But this space over here, it could almost work. This portal is going to be 4 blocks wide and it's going to have a couple of blocks behind it, and to squeeze it into this place we'd have to bring it all the way out, which I think would actually look quite odd. Another thought just popped into my head that we could possibly move these villagers over to one side and you'd be able to fit it in this space, but I don't want to do that. And another space I was looking at was just back here as well, and this is almost perfect. Now we have 3 blocks of space in the middle and the portal is going to be 4 blocks wide, which means one of these walls would share some obsidian blocks. So if that were on the outside it would look odd, coming over here and just seeing some random obsidian blocks on the side. And if we did it on this side, again, it would probably look odd seeing some obsidian behind the sandstones. So I think that since this thing is kind of temporary, the way we're using it at the moment, I'm just going to build it where the other one is. There doesn't appear to be the right amount of space in this area. And this is one of those things that usually annoys me, When you start out, you can't plan everything that you want in advance, but the thing is not to worry about it. We'll probably have a portal down the bottom somewhere, so you can just drop all the way down and run over to a portal, or you can just throw some ender pearls up there as well. But for when you don't have ender pearls or you just want to use the one inside the base, we'll just put it around the back here. Probably going to leave this like that for some time. So I am just going to build it right here, I think. I need to move it a block or 2 forward. I might rotate it as well, but we'll just build it in the same spot. So one of the things I love about my tutorials is the items in the chest. Ever since I started doing that I had a lot of positive feedback, and whenever I follow one of my own tutorials it was always good because you can just pause the screen and get all the items that you need to build this. Now I've started putting it right here. I've removed the signs from my shop. We need to put them somewhere more visible. And I was just thinking, you know what, I'm going to make this part of this little corner. I'm going to put some wood around here and just enclose this so in the corner you can go around and use the portal. But then I realised, wait a minute, I want to come out the back here to the bone meal farm. There's some extra chests over that side. And we've also got our little trap as well. And I came down here just to have a look at the drops, and check this out. We have loads of ink sacs, because this is basically a squid farm. There is no water pretty much anywhere in this area. Maybe there's some underground, but we have this little moat, and it drags them into this little area where they drown, and then we get all the ink sacs from it, which I think is pretty cool. We've inadvertently built a farm there as well. So what we're going to do with this, I think, is enclose it a little bit and just leave a little gap so we can get out to this area as well. And the other thing that I brought with me is some furnaces. Now I think I can put these in straight away. This is probably going to get in the way of building some of the other stuff, but the dispensers need to go there and one needs to go up the top. Let's just put that in place. And I was thinking what I wanted to do is to make these a little bit more discreet was to use the furnace texture. So we will place these round the back like that. And then, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Well, it doesn't look that good. It's not really appealing, but it definitely helps. I think if you had any other materials, the dispensers would become fairly obvious. But anyway, enough rambling from me. I'm going to finish building this. So let's give this thing a test and see it in action. So it lights the portal for you. It gives the player enough time to go through, and then it breaks it, which I think is pretty damn cool. Now I was just wondering if there was a way to compact this at all, because the flint and steel is down on the bottom here, and that might have been an assumption Ease made when designing this, because that's the way you used to light the portals. You could light them at the bottom, but I think it's in 1.7 or maybe it's 1.8. You can actually light it by clicking on any side. We can actually test that. Yeah, there you go. And now if I use this, it will break it for me in a short amount of time. So maybe there's a way to even compact this design further, which I'm sure Ease would be capable of, because he's pretty much a redstone genius. Check this out around the back here. There is not a lot that goes into that at all, and most of the things that I've worked on with him, he just compacts things in a way I don't even understand how he gets them that small. But there is another thing with this design: you can't use it frequently. So if you press it once and then it breaks and you press it again immediately, it won't work, because all of the items need to go back from this hopper into the other one, and that's only 11 items as well. But I was thinking what we could do is hide a comparator under this block, and it would power that block, so we could put a lamp above it, and that means whenever there's items in this, the portal is in use. So if you come here and someone's just used it and the lamp's still on, then you have to wait. But that'll probably never happen, because I'm the only person who's over here, and it only lasts for a short amount of time anyway. It's literally just a couple of seconds. So what I want to do next is just tidy up this area, add that lamp, and then we're good to go. Actually, one other thing, when I was doing my trading with villagers, I got tons and tons of flint and steel, and they've just been... Actually, I say tons and tons, I think it's just those. I think there might be some more somewhere else, but I couldn't find them. But now we get to use all of these, so none of that went to waste. We stored them, and now we can put them in our portal. Okay, so this is no work of art. As you can see, we've just put spruce wood around the outside. A thought just occurred to me. I was talking about how the dispenser puts the flint and steel on the bottom. I don't even know if it can put them on the side of a block, so I thought, why don't we do a little bit of a test? And all of a sudden I just became a little bit wary that we're using a flint and steel around all of this wood. That's how we're going to activate it. I don't know why I placed that first. Let's put the flint and steel in there. Let's hopefully not burn down this base. Aha! Ha! You can do it from there as well. Okay, that is good to know. We learned something, which is always good. How did these guys get in here, eh? I could hear the bone mill going off. I think these are social zombies that have spawned inside. There's a little guy as well. He's running over to give me a hug, isn't he? Ah. Let's kill that guy. There we go. How did they get in here? That's really strange, actually, and kind of worrying. And they're getting closer. They're getting closer to the villagers up there. That is really worrying, actually. I don't know how they spawned in here. It could have been when I built this bit. Maybe there is a light level here that is now a tad lower. And I've literally just finished testing this thing. I went through to the nether. That all seems good here, so that is a bit of a worry. I've also put up the prices for the shop over here, so all item prices are amounts of... Wait, all item prices are amount of stacks. Okay, I replaced that sign because I put stack instead of stacks, and now I forgot the S from amount. I'll change that in a moment. but I'm basically saying that the number next to the item is how much you get for 1 diamond. So sand is 12, sandstone 6, cobble 12, dirt 12, and I've also put down quartz ore and clay here as 1 each. I've had no time to evaluate how much I think they're worth in diamonds, but Corrales and Mumbo have been coming over here and buying them from me from time to time, so I just put them down as 1 for a stack at the moment, which I think is alright while I figure out what the price is, but at the moment I don't really know. So I was just about to wrap things up for this episode when I had an idea. Don't know how this is going to look, but if we put the water up there, it's going to flow to the lowest point. Put down some blocks so that doesn't create a mess, and then we can cut that off with the quartz. And then if we come down here and remove this and have a look at what it looks like, I'm not sure what I think about that. It does add a little something extra. The blue is probably too bright. I mean, if the blue were a full block, it would just be way too bright for this room. But I don't really think that adds much. But it was an idea worth doing. And I don't want to do that with lava before you think of suggesting it, because we've got wood and wool and all sorts of things around here. That reminds me, actually, I've had people telling me to put wool on the blocks that are here. And look, there's slimes in there. God damn it, that's so annoying. But I keep thinking about the floor. I keep thinking about putting them down here or something, and now I realise what people have been telling me is to put them on those 4 blocks, which is something I might do. I need to go and investigate that. Yeah, I'm going to do that in a moment, actually, but that is going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm going to remove this water, but let me know in the comments what you thought of that. I don't think I'll be keeping it, though. But a little bit of a shorter episode than usual, just because I've got an idea for what I want to do next episode, and I'm going to need to spend some time working on that, and I've also got to spend a lot of time working on the farms we're going to build in each of these areas. You know, I've got to design new ones, I've got some ideas, and all that stuff takes time, so I thought we'd do a little bit of a shorter one today. But that is it, so if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, it will always be appreciated, and as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.